Now we got several choices here. We can glue the lenses to the inside, but I'm trying to use the foam case for the flash gasket. So in order for me to do that, if I put a lens in, I got to cut that out. I really don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do with this build is I'm actually going to grind this down right here and here, and I'm going to put lenses on the outside because I'm going to texture this outside. Okay, this is kind of looks rough, but I ground that down as smooth as I can. The goop will cover it up and seal up it good. Now I'm going to want to sand this a little bit, scuff it up. Same with here, because that's where I'm going to put my high HPWA. So we'll do that. Okay, I'm going to goop in my Fresnel, so I'll put some goop on the outside from a hole. And I'll put some on the HPWA. Now you can take the foam out, it's up to you. I do for the P41 with this setup. You can leave the foam in, it's kind of up to you. Some people do, some people don't. You could possibly, with it out, you could pick up too far out and you can actually get pictures of nothing. And I want the little circles, the ones that are straight across, I want them to the top. Put that in there, and I'm just going to squish it. Now I don't have to clean this up. Now if it was a camo build, I'd have to clean this all up, make it look pretty, because I don't want to mess up the camo, but this isn't. I'm just going to be putting some PL200, which I use, over top of it. Just try to make it straight. And that goes the same with the lenses. Now we want to glue our lenses in. And all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go around that. Now I'm going to have my goops going to touch. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm actually going to have to take a screwdriver, go between the two so the goop does not touch. If you're going to put the lenses on the outside of the case like I'm doing here, the goop cannot touch. If I was using a clear case, I would color the plastic, rough up the color, and color the plastic with a black permanent marker. Then goop your lens down. So I want to put that down there, push her down. Oops. Grab the wrong lens. I'm going to have to clean that up. Now, I go around that again, just in case, and I'll go around and put this right on the edge of that glass. If I get it on, I'm going to have to wait until it sets a little bit before I can get it off of there, or I'll move my lens around. I don't want to do that. Not being messy with it because I'm going to cover it up, so I don't really care. I just don't want to get too much on the lens because that means I got to clean whatever I get on the lens. I got to clean off then. But what I got to do then, as I was saying, my goop's touching right now, and I really don't want my goop to touch. So I'm going to take a screwdriver, and I'm going to make a channel between the two. And actually, after it sets, I'll actually take a permanent marker and mark before I cover everything up. If I don't do this, I'll get flash bleed, because the flash will travel the goop. It's clear, translucent, and will travel. And you might have to check this again after it sets to make sure it didn't fill in on you. Okay. And like I said, after this sets, I'll actually take a black magic marker between the two too. Okay, after my lens dry, I'm gonna put my camera in, and I'm gonna center that and make sure it's centered in the hole. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a marker. I'm gonna mark underneath it, and what I'm gonna do is that's gonna tell me where. What I did was I took a piece of corner. It's a plastic piece of corner drywall protector, and you can buy about, I think it's like 6 foot or 4 foot long. You cut a piece of this out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a shelf. So I'll stick that down there and I'll glue it down. So, and that'll make sure that I put my camera down in the same place, and then I don't get the lens hole doesn't block the picture. And that's what it'll look like. Okay, now I got my shelf in, which you can see. I want to put my pipe through in. And I'm just going to use a piece of pipe, tubing, plastic. I can cut it easier that way. And I'm going to figure out approximately what I need, because I can trim it later. It's easy to cut. I'm going to mark it. Now I like this stuff. It's not a real hard PVC. It's almost like a plastic tubing, where I can take a pair of cutters and just ratchet cutters, and I cut that. Now I like to keep my pipe down, so I'm just going to mark it. Where I want my center to be. Now if I mark it there, I can see where the mark is when I transfer it. And this isn't rocket science here. It don't have to be perfect, but I do like it to be straight. And I'm just going to lay that out there. I know where I want it. I'll mark my center. And that's where I want it to be. So, put X marks the spot. And I can take my center punch and miss. Now I'm going to use a step drill and a drill. I'm going to drill that out. That may take me a couple times to get where I want to be, because I don't want it to be loose. I want it to be snug going in. There, it's nice and snug for me. And I'm going to want to clean that hole up a little bit. Whoops. Okay, and that's that. So now I want to make sure I'm straight, so I'm going to measure in the center there. I'm off just a hair. And I'm on the center there. Now what I can do is mark my case where I'm going to drill my next hole.